Hello and welcome to the Weekend Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. We have yet another classic show lined up for you. Our guest for this episode is here for the second time. He is a psychotherapist who holds a master's degree in counseling psychology. You loved him on his first appearance, but he's here today for yet another interesting topic. Benjamin Zulu is in the house. We'll be talking to him in a bit, but first, this week, former Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, Dr. Muhisa Kitui, announced that he will be running for president in 2022. No sooner had he made the announcement, there were ready reactions, and this one has arguably carried the most interest.
Muhisa, mheshimiwa, ametoka London, sijui ni Australia, sijui ni wapi, Dubai, wherever. Na yeye kwa sababu ni kijana yetu ya diaspora. Hakujangi matanga. Muhisa hakujangi matanga. Mumewahi ona Muhisa kwa matanga? Sasa akikuja hapa asiwapatie 200, awapatie 1000. Kila mtu kabla Muhisa hajaongea mnampiga fine ya 1000. Mnasikia? Mukisikia Muhisa kwa Kakamega, mnaenda nyinyi wote ni mbona ni huko wenyani. Wewe 1000 kabla hujaongea. Bei ya kuongea ni 1000 kwa kila mwananchi. Kwa sababu hakujangi matanga. Hakujangi matanga.
Imagine kusetiana, hata kama everyone has to be punished. Let's be candid here. Kama kuenda matanga ni requirement ya kukuwa president, how comes Baba has never been president? Hakuna matanga Baba hajawahi enda. In fact, ile matanga Baba hajaenda ni ya tangatanga ya Jubilee. By the way, come to think of it, Baba ako kwa matanga ya Jubilee. Now, what Lurambi MP Titus Hamala is saying, regardless of how many achievements you have in life, to lead, lazima ukue unaenda matanga. Makes it sound like in Western, kuna unit huenda matanga kuconfirm kama Muhisa amekuja.
Hakujangi matanga. Muhisa hakujangi matanga. Mumewahi ona Muhisa kwa matanga?
So politicians and funerals are actually a thing. They are intertwined. This could be interpreted to mean that the career of Kenyan politicians is directly linked to Kenyans dying. This explains many things. That's why healthcare in Kenya maybe cannot be sorted because politicians will not get a platform. I'm asking myself, could this be why, after the doctors' strike, political activities in the country hiked? Whatever you do with that information is up to you. That's all the evidence you need to prove that politicians love you to death. In other news, the gender divide has been widened after veteran journalist Maina Kageni posted this video on his social media account this week. Yani, there's a lot going on in that video, way more than meets the eye. Of course, to the naked eye, when the people who don't fear God watch this video, the thing that comes to mind ni vile watu wanduthi ubadilisha na wasichana na watu wa trailer. But that's not the point. For a level-headed person, the interpretation is very simple. A man and a woman on a motorbike get stuck in the mud, and then a lorry comes to the rescue. Now the question becomes, you mean the whole lorry only had enough space for one person, the lady? Maze, lorry hata, yani afadhali huyu mtu abebe mawe, nyuma iko na mwanaume mmoja. Enye a man is a man's enemy. Maybe ndio sababu watu wanduthi hawapendi watu wa gari kabisa. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to start a gender war here. From a hater's perspective, the lady and the boda guy were heading in the same direction. Then they get stuck. A lorry appears going in the opposite direction, dem anashuka akaipanda. To mean that huo dem hata hakuwa anaenda mahali huo mse wa nduthi alikuwa anaenda. Hakuwa anaenda the same direction. Hivi ndio mademu wengine wanaanzanga safari na wewe, halafu wakigundua hakuna mahali unaenda, they leave you for someone who is moving. Kuna watu wanasema, hivyo ndio Irongo Kang'ata amenyakuliwa Jubilee. Now, there's always a talk of watoto wa siku hizi wameharibika kuliko wa kitambo. How true is this? Every generation has said this about the previous generation or the generation that comes after them. Now, there are people who even feel that people born in this generation are weak because of how much parenting has changed. We have Benjamin Zulu on the other end of this short commercial break to help us break this down even further. This is one of those conversations you don't want to miss for anything. See you guys in a bit. Welcome back to the Wicked Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Shonzito tena kama kawaida. Our guest for this episode here for the second time is a master's degree holder in counseling psychology. He's a life coach. You loved him the first time he was here. Back with us again, Benjamin Zulu. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Hey, manze. Leo we are talking about a very different subject, but probably along the lines of something that's affecting the world now. New age parenting. I called Benjamin Zulu juzi, nikamwambia I had an interesting observation. Niligetia mtoi wangu phone and the reaction was atasoma kweli. But looking at myself at that age versus now vile wana grow, you told me that this technology thing that does not mean that children are smarter than we were.
In fact, I want to comfort parents. When you talk about parents, Kingori is us. You know, there before parents were wazees.
Yeah.
So many people exclude themselves when they hear the word parents.
Yes.
Today, remember 75% of Kenyan population is us and the younger group.
Yes.
25%, the wazee, there are fewer nowadays. Have you been surprised when you go to companies and you wait for the boss? Then you're waiting for a person to come to presence.
Yes,
Only for a person like you, a lady you could have cut yard easily.
Yes. Coming through.
You know?
Yes.
So remember, now gadgets don't mean they are geniuses.
Okay. 2.5
years old, 3 years, they know your phone more because they have nothing else to do.
They are idle. Unemployed.
That's all they have. Had you been given this thing at your age, you'd have also learned it. You are curious. So let's stop saying we have a generation of very curious kids whom we can't put up with. What else do they know apart from the gadget? They don't know life. So it's to say, let's stop overestimating because we end up being intimidated. Because it's true, they can do things with your phone you have never done with it.
Yes.
You've been with it and you hear sounds from the phone. You wonder, is that my phone?
Yes.
Because you never know those games exist there.
Yes.
So it's true, but the thing is, they are very curious, and they're supposed to be like that at that age. Yeah. So number one, in order to decide whether to give your child and you weigh the pros and cons in the following ways. There are standard influence of phones on anybody. You need to know them. First of all, the phone brings the world home. So if you close the gate and tell the gate man, children don't go out, but then you bring the phone home, you brought the world home. The children don't go to the world, but the world came home.
Huyu alipataje mimba na atokangi nje.
Exactly. Anaweza katiwa hapo na wapange kitu yao, and you know they're studying you and your movements. Yes. So they can master the movement with the ideas of the con guy outside there. Yes. They can find their way out. Yes. So, and one of the things, so we have said one of the obvious is that it opens the world. The thing is, don't close them out of the world, is to measure what they're being exposed to. So understand the standard pros and cons. One con is brings the world. Another con is that if you don't regulate how much they have it, they can sleep with it overnight, interfere with their sight. They become short. We have more people who are short-sighted today, more glasses uses today because people abuse their eyes when they're young. The phone is worse than the TV because it's closer to you.
Yes,
all right?
Yes.
And the light is here. And kids close in the blanket with it. So if you do not regulate the exposure, it can affect their health, their sleep patterns, because it's too interesting. They don't sleep. Sometimes you have to whip kids to follow the sleep program at home. Yes. Other cons involve things like, who are they talking to? Do they now go to play natural games, or they will stay on the phone only? And the psychomotor. Psychomotor is the hands and the game, the whole body. The games on the computer don't engage legs, so they just engage the brain and the fingers. So there are games that the kicking of the ball, the running, the body requires all that. But if you leave this, they will forget to go to kick the ball, to run after, and that is their body needed that for psychomotor, the muscles, and how to learn how to interact with other people. Wakosane wa resolve, they go pitana, they arrange this, ukienda hivi, nikuja hivi. That is negotiation skills in life. They're learning them while playing, all right? Children play games that players don't have losing and winning. That is 5 years and below. They don't know the games of losing. They just play kitchen, play dad, play mom. But when they reach like 6, 7, they start playing winning and losing. That counting of score, arguing, settling, that is life now. They need to play that one, all right? Okay. So the cons, but the pros are also very strong. The pros are, if you don't get your kid the phone and the rest of the kids in the class have it, the kid will be odd one out and they will be laughed at every day. It can affect their self-esteem, all right? if they do not know the trends that are going on because they are not updated, they don't know which one is going on, they will also feel isolated. They could feel not loved. And let's not ignore this and say, in our day we do not have it. Your day does not exist. Don't raise your kid for a world that no longer exists. Okay. Some of us went to school without shoes. Nowadays they can't do that, all right? So we were never used to use school bus. School bus was your Route 11, all right?
Yes.
Your Mitsubishi. Yes. You know, that's how we used to go. But today, that is the norm. So the thing is, the cons are also strong. Another con is it gives kids a wider research. They were a ready library in one gadget. If they use it right, they get to know their personality type, the skills, they connect with other kids in the world, they get to see better movies without you having to buy every movie they used to buy, they can see things, the cartoons that are educative. This phone is inevitable. At the end of the day, you can't keep your phone, your child from it. Those people keep asking me, do I buy or not buy? Ask them, stop asking for a shortcut. If you look for a shortcut, you'll be cut short. Okay. The real work is get the phone and regulate how much content it brings to the child.
Okay.
The third factor is you should know your child. Know your child, whether they're disciplined, they're self-controlled, whether they're obedient, or they're cheeky, or they're cunning. That particular child, children are not the same. You can bring phones to all your children when they reach 10, you get rid of, but many of them go the other side, they go, know this particular kid and delay or get them early or grant access or deny it depending on how cheeky they are, how mischievous you've known them to be. And please, let's not force our women to be working every day, all right? Especially after they get the kids and you realize there's need at home. At home, bringing up your kids, Kingori, is work enough. If there's a child who requires close observation, rearrange one of you to be more available. And you carry the financial burden. Let mommy be home with the child. Because this child, after a few years, they will go away. If you say, no, we must work more than you can't stay home, then you lose the kid. What is the profit? You make money and you lose the child. So when children are young, it's very okay for us to rearrange it. One of us has more time with the children. Pick the kid home. I drop the kid. You pick them, observe them, train them. You two should do homeschooling, even if they're still doing school. And don't send your kids to boarding when they're class 3, Kingori. Okay. Stop dumping your kids to...
I need to note that down. Ni mimba ama kazi. Choice. Don't take your kids to boarding schools
when they're class 3. Yes. Don't stop dumping them to the world before you prepare them for the world. If you take your kid to boarding when they're 8 years, 10 years, you are dumping them with the kids who come from drug-using families, dysfunctional families, chaotic families. They learn wild behaviors that you never see at home. Don't spend a month without seeing your kid. Are you crazy? This kid, you have not prepared them that they could be injected drugs, taught pornography, shown things, violence, boxing. Let me ask you, Kingori, when you buy your kid a pistol to shoot and play games shooting and killing people, yes, what is the fun there?
Policeman.
What? They learn horror movies and violence from those other kids. I want to stay with my kid until I have prepared them for the world. At least until, I will not send them anywhere until they reach high school. They will stay with me so that I can observe, speak values, teach them the principles I want. Before I send them to the world, I want to have prepared them with the values and guidelines. Don't dump your kid in school. The reality is we don't take them there because we want good for them. It's for 2 reasons. We think it's class, sign of class that you can afford it. Okay. But another thing is we are lazy. We want time alone. These kids are bothersome. Kids are work. When they're at home, they need constant attention. Yes. So sometimes we are sending them away to have some break.
Yes. We
are just avoiding the reality. And the third reason is ignorance. Thinking grades are what. Don't ask your kid whether they scored airplane. That is not the only question. Ask whether they know how to control their emotions. Whether they can be patient, chapati kipikwa. Whether they can... Whether they can share the food with the other kid because the other kid did not get. Whether they can walk with the kid who got injured slowly home. Whether they can carry the book that was lost and take it with the teacher. Whether they see money and take it. Look for values, Kingori. Don't emphasize marks. That's where we are getting it wrong. Osama bin Laden was an airplane student. So if you only praise airplane, you could be raising another Osama bin Laden. It's not the brain only. Can we please also build the character? I'm happy they are scrapping away the useless 844 we had, 8 minus 4 minus 4, 0 system. Because it was emphasizing, oh, airplane, you scored airplane, I'll give you with this, you scored. And yet the same kids did not have emotional control, could not control their own, especially men. Wild passions. Some of these men you have seen in school, first class engineering, and they go to kusukuma mkokoteni because they cannot improvise the skills they got to do something. Watengeneze kisiagi ya ile njenga kule nyumbani,
Okay.
Then they make some money. Cannot repair a motorbike. Cannot repair the common things. Them mkokoteni. Instead of repairing for common people and start there, they can't have that creativity. They have a lot of book knowledge, but they are useless in the street wisdom.
But Nini, for the mkokoteni, I think I can defend them. They are giving out full wheelbarrows now, so it's complete. It's really you mentioned something here that you need to monitor your child. Talk values to them, raise them properly.
Yes.
Kiboko, sijasikia kiboko. Oh, kiboko nilisikia where you need to whip them to follow a routine. Kiboko, what's the regulation? What's the kupanga?
You know, there's a thin line between using the kiboko to, you know, to straighten and using the kiboko to abuse. When you are sick, they banned the cane because it was being abused. But the Bible still says if there's a foolishness bound in the heart of a child and the whip drives it out. You don't drive that foolishness by, please, Junior, please just wear that shirt. Please, wear that shirt. No.
Junior, well behaved. Use Jaden.
So the Jadens we have today and the Michelles and what you have today is you must still use the cane, although having explained, because you are to come in the house at 6 p.m. but you played and overstayed at 6:30. And we said when you overstayed is how many canes? 2, all right? You make sure you explain so that tomorrow is called negative reinforcement. They associate coming late with the pain. And that's why every woman, even if you're parenting a boy alone, you need to have a male voice somewhere. Through the teacher, the pastor, the mentor, make sure if you're bringing up a boy. I saw a mother and a 5-year-old, both of them crying and shouting on the road, all right? The boy doesn't want to go to school, and the mother is driving her to the school bus, and the boy is complaining by crying. Children communicate many things by crying. They can cry of hunger, fear, pain, and mothers know it. You've seen that a child cries and mother is not even bothered. Another cry, and the mother is startled.
Yes,
and they ran. Yes. Because this boy was crying in terms of protest. And the mother is also shouting, "Go to school, you're driving me mad." So both of them were, mother and the son.
Yes.
And I saw helplessness. Because the mother doesn't understand that boys don't know emotional. To this day, men don't know emotional language. They still have to learn it, even at our age.
Okay.
We still don't get it why the woman is quiet and she's just, there's tension in the house and you don't know where to start and you don't know where to. So don't shout to boys, explain what you mean and always implement punishments quickly. Rewards and punishments will be implemented. I keep teaching mothers because many of them have to raise children alone and they have to raise boys alone. You can still raise a president like Obama being a single mom until he's coming to look for the grave of the father when he has already achieved with the guidance of the mother. So you can still father, quote unquote, when you are the mother. Sometimes necessity leaves you alone to do it. Many of us have been brought up by our mothers. Our fathers were absent. They were in Nairobi. They were coming once a month, in a blue moon. And they had to be raised by our mothers. So our mothers had to be tough a little bit and tell you, even if you are tall, my mother will say, even if you are tall like a tree, I will climb you and beat you up there. You know, the boy grows tall and you think he's tall. Well, even if I will climb you and beat you up.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So for boys, implement punishment quickly.
Yes.
So kama
And
umefika
explain,
yes, explain
why you're punishing them.
So kama umefika age ya boxing, mangumi go for knockout. Quickly.
Yes. And many times it's to let the boy know that you don't enjoy the beating either. You're also disappointed that he's bringing it into this.
So when you beat them, you also cry. You're not enjoying. You express your emotion.
Tell them you have driven us to this. We didn't want this. It's you brought it all this far. And let them repeat why they are being beaten up. Remember, some teachers would explain to you and then have you repeat.
Yes.
That is very important. Let them know what has occasioned this. You went fist fighting with that boy. You went insulting. You went ate food. So, you threw stones at that car. Those kind of mischievous things.
Yes.
Always associate them and don't explain them. Next time, don't make noise. No. Women, stop making noise to boys. Explain calmly. Don't drive him mad, just like our father. Don't transfer, don't project, don't get worked up. In fact, when you're worked up, don't act. Postpone the discussion until tomorrow. So now, come here, Jaden. Yesterday, what happened? Ma'am. Yes.
Beat them when you are happy. As in
when you are calm, exactly. When you are calm, don't transfer anger and frustration.
Beat them to a gospel song. Hallelujah. Nice. These are very, very wonderful
Exactly.
tips. Some people hold the opinion that when you have your children early, at least you will interact with them as adults while you're still young.
You'll interact with them, but you're also broke. Kingori, what is the point of your father being young and he's also broke? What's the point of your mother being young and she's in a sick relationship?
Because you'll get rich together.
How will you get? You see, children demand money. Let me tell you the problem of premature marriages. You end up marrying a person you're not compatible with. To realize your energies, and this, I want you to help me get this message out here for men and women. Most women become themselves 26 and above. Before then, you don't know who you're dealing with. Before she's 25, the brain matures at 25, thereabout. When she's 24, 23, it's a caricature of the woman is on the way. This is a girl. And many of them are very intelligent, ambitious, and driven. But when she's just fresh from university, when she's the year for the year, she just looks calm like other girls. And you may think it's just dealing with a girl. Only later for her to begin to want more, to begin to be driven more, the values of her life become opposite of what you expected. She did not explore. You tied her too soon. She starts cheating left, right, and center. She feels like you shortchanged her development. So I want to ask men, even when you are dating, let's date for a woman who was matured and mentally stabilized.
So anyone dating a woman under 25 is just practicing.
Yes, they're inviting drama and mayhem and chaos and depression and stress. I don't like it when somebody goes, oh, there's this guy, a guy came and sent me 50 screenshots of the chatting the girl is doing with, and how old is the girl? 23. I told him, man, remove your stupidity from my inbox. What are you doing with a 23-year-old? Where's your head? Can you use the thing between your ears to think, not the thing between your legs? What are you doing with a 23-year-old? And typing for me here. How she's supposed to be exploring. She's 23. She can sleep with anything now, anything. And
Wow.
want to tie her down?
So wait. As men, we are supposed to wait for sinners to reform. We are waiting on the other end. Sasa watu wafanye dhambi zao zote, tukutane on the other
Hata
side.
wewe unafanya zako.
Apana,
You started doing your listen.
No, sasa okay, ona, assuming a man ameokoka maisha yake yote. No, for real.
That's true.
For real. As in, and you wait for Jezebel on the other end, sasa because they are 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years waiting for her to log out of Jezebel. Is that even fair?
Not all women go through wild phases. The thing I'm saying is, before they become, you can't tell what you're dealing with. And let me mention this before we close that chapter. If you stay in an abusive marriage because of children, you are not being loving, you're being stupid. You're teaching children that love, marriage, and abuse are the same. They can coexist. You're starting a generational curse. If the person is not good for you, they are not good for your children either. If the person is a not good mother for you, they are dramatic, coming home at night, causing chaos and banging, breaking glasses and TVs and cheating left and right, and you're staying there because of your children, you're being stupid. You're teaching children to accommodate abuse and they don't know what is self-respect. They don't know what is peace. They might end up marrying like you.
So moral of the story, what do you think is the way forward in terms of relationships? Because this is this is the environment that children are born into, right?
If you can
that affects the generation altogether.
If you can be the two of you peacefully bringing up the child, that's the ideal. But if when you are together, it's tension and chaos, better you'd be alone with the children and there is peace. Children would rather have peace with one parent than war with two parents.
I think that's a very good place to end it. Asante sana, and thank you very much for honoring our invite. Always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, man.
Good vibes. Asante sana, and I hope you enjoyed Benjamin Zulu on the Wicked Edition. That said, see you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.